So this is it, everyone, my favorite place. And you know, if you can't find me, I'm usually here causing trouble with my boyfriends. So I have with me Tim and Dave, the owners of Gypsy Market Mews. Okay, so let's talk about the Gypsy Market Mews. I mean, really, it is the most eclectic, but interesting, most awesome. You can't be here for 5 minutes. You're here for like days. Because every time you come back, there's just something I didn't see before.
We call it the leg hold trap. You walk in the door, we've got you for at least 45 minutes.
And you're not getting out.
Right? Oh, no.
And we're not a big store. We're a perfect little size store for a town the size of Gravenhurst. But what we wanted to do is create a store that's got so much impact and so much going on inside it that someone can come in and realize that they can't do it in one day. They have to come back because there's always hidden things that they haven't seen before.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, and every time I've been here, because we're usually working on furniture, and you guys do, you reclaim, you bring things back to life. So a lot of the things that you people throw away, well, it's like a treasure to you guys, and you bring it back to life, and people can't believe it. They think, how is that possible?
Well, there's such a huge leaning right now towards upcycling of things.
Is that what we call it? Upcycling?
That's what we call it here.
Upcycling. Repurposing, is that the same thing?
Repurposing is the same thing.
Right.
Essentially just keeping stuff out of landfill. You know, that's what we want to do, rather than the disposable lifestyle of just getting rid of things that you don't want to keep anymore. You find different purposes for it. You take it apart, you repaint it, you refashion it, you turn it into something else, you give it an entirely different usage.
Well, everybody, it's all about learning, and here's a prime example of what we call upcycling. And what we're talking about is those finds, those places when you go to antique markets or maybe a restore and you looking for furniture, something unique and different. And of course, the way furniture was made back then. So
It lasts. It's solid wood. You don't get like the glue and the sawdust and the little metal connectors that you get now in modern furniture. You get a piece that might be going to get another 100 years.
Yeah, exactly. So most people walk by those pieces because they can't imagine anything else being done with it or doesn't fit their space.
Exactly.
But it's the wrong thing to do, right? So
It is the wrong
what
thing
should
to
we
do.
be doing?
Well, just look at it in a different way. If you look at something and it strikes you for whatever reason, the little architectural detail to it, or a little bit of flair that just catches your eye, look at it in a different way and say, okay, if that were not a table, what else could it be? If it were not a chair, what else could I turn it into? And you kind of break it down in its little parts in your mind, figure out how you can put it back together into something else, and all of a sudden you've got an upcycled, recycled piece.
So it doesn't have to stay the way it was originally purposed.
Not in the least.
So a table that maybe was a dinner table can become something different.
Well, what we're leaning on here, for example, same thing. Actually, we found this at the Habitat for Humanity Restore, and it was a table that was taken apart. A dining room table that extends out, had all these legs, had beautiful details to it, good solid oak piece of furniture that had outlived its useful life. So we took it apart, we cut it into little pieces, we divided up the legs into certain sizes, we rearranged all of its pieces, turned it into what either could now be used as a bathroom vanity set, or a hall tree, or a desk, or a credenza. There's so many different purposes for this in the home right now because it is what it used to be, but it's got an entirely different purpose.
So when you boys see something like this, do you just does it just automatically, you look at a piece of furniture and say, okay, I know what to do with it? Because for some of us, we can't do that.
I would say sometimes yes, sometimes it's obvious, and sometimes it takes a little while, or sometimes you come home sure that you know what it's going to be. You get downstairs and you come up with an amazing idea that's nothing like that at all, which is even more fun.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And that's the thing, it's a process. It can be immediate, but sometimes it can take a little while. And then of course I look at this and think, well, this looks exactly like the legs of this.
Well, that's no accident, because there was one leg left over, and I don't like to waste things. Like I said before, I don't like anything to go into the landfill. So let's just turn it into a candlestick, and it belongs on here because it's all made of the same materials, and it's just reusing the same thing in a different way.
It's kind of like those old Crisco oil commercials. Remember, it all comes back but 1 tablespoon. And you just keep popping that thing up. Eventually, every piece will appear somewhere on it, except for maybe a little sawdust.
I know a lot of you out there probably thinking, well, if I were to start doing the cutting, I mean, who knows what I'm going to end up with. But the point is, give it a try. And there are people out there, such as yourself, right? So, you know, Dave and Tim, where they can come and learn from you. And more importantly, they can come to a store like this, the Gypsy Market Mews, where you have a lot of this type of product already in-house.
And we're not just a place that sells them, but we're also the idea location also. We love it if people come in here with just ideas, or they say, we found this and we love it, we don't know what to do with it. We'll sit and we'll talk with you and say, do this, do that, do this, and just kind of get your imagination sparked. That's what we love to do.
People can hire you to actually do this stuff for them, right? when they find that incredible find, but they want to make it really truly unique for their space. Can you guys help them with that?
Absolutely.
We can do it. Adaptations. We can sometimes get that last piece that you can complete something with. You know, people came in with a gorgeous gem cupboard the other day, but they didn't have the base. So our challenge is to find some sort of interesting and new base, and we've gotten out iron stove bases and different things, and eventually we will collaborate and find exactly what they need to get that little dream piece looking amazing.
All right, everybody, so remember, you want to do your part, avoid all those landfills, create some magical pieces, so it's all about
Upcycling.
There you go.